Good morning, everyone. How y'all doing? It's an early Thursday morning as I'm back here in my garage getting ready to go to work, and on both fronts. And today I was trying to think of what to talk about, and actually what's on my mind the most was the post I did about basically the nickels, dimes, and quarters. Some people responded. I actually got a really nice email from someone saying we support you and the independents, and she placed a really great order on the storefront. So really do appreciate that. Shout out to you. The thing is that I was giving it more thought, and some things came to mind. Someone brought up what I think of as a unicorn, meaning like the one or two titles that actually make it out there from the indies that get big. And that's become more and more the less happens, like I said, a unicorn. And kind of what's happening now with a lot of these guys who make these YouTube short clips and do whatever, it's basically a resume. It's to show, look, I can do some really great stuff. Take a look at my YouTube channel, take a look at my stuff, and sometimes they get the financing from the big studios, and sometimes they're able to break out. That's great for them. So, I mean, from that standpoint, it's become more of the weekend warrior thing. But on the other front, as far as, anime and how Crunchyroll, and I think eventually we will come to like maybe one company like a Crunchyroll, Sony, that kind of controls anime in the USA and kind of releases most of the mainstream stuff. But I do believe that what's going to happen is, like, I never thought I would see a bastard part whatever, part 2 or whatever you want to call it. It's basically going to be like the Harry Potter world. It's going to be basically whatever is the most popular and easiest to make sure you get your money. These are big companies. They're just looking for their financing and making sure they make their money back. So what are they going to do? Put it into an indie, or put it into like a new Berserk, or put it into a new Harry Potter series? So I think from that standpoint, I think it's pretty easy where most of the content's going to go. It's going to be what I call a Harry Potter world. You're just going to really kind of just over and over again just see the same things, part 2, part 3, the origin stories, and that. The other thing too is about distribution. You got to remember, in the times like of mine, there was a very split, meaning that the publisher made the stuff. You had some kind of distribution channel, be it drive-ins, be it theaters, be it home video, and they owned their own stuff. And you had the consumer. So there was kind of like those three parts of the chain. What's happened now in many ways is they cut out the middleman. And a lot of people, especially myself, thought that would be a great thing because, getting paid from people can be tough. Companies go out of business, like we brought out with Musicland. So you thought, like, if you were the company and you put it on the web and you're collecting directly via YouTube, via all these places, you thought, hey, that might be not such a bad thing. You're kind of going straight to consumer, almost like a convention. But unfortunately, what's happened is that and it's kind of funny because there was, I think, once a lawsuit or once some big case about how the theaters can't produce or they can't own the films, and I don't know what exact. I do remember that, but what's happened now is, imagine that basically in the day, if Best Buy or Musicland acquired the anime, put it out, and sold it through their stores. That's kind of what's happened. Crunchyroll is basically now the distributor, and also you could think of the licensee or the publisher. So there's kind of now all those walls have gone away, and you're just kind of left with almost a monopoly type of situation, other than some of the other stuff. So, these are kind of my thoughts on how the industry has changed, how things continue to change, and how, I think the death of the indie is pretty much here in many ways. There's going to be one or two guys left here or there. There'll be your YouTube guys, weekend warriors. There'll be guys who, like us, who deal in very niche stuff. You got other guys who deal with just catalog stuff from the 80s, stuff from the 90s, anything that the biggers won't touch. But at this point, the big companies are touching so much. That's the thing. Now, here's another thought. before I end it, is basically the devaluation of content. When I went to college, I went to NYU, and they taught in finance, they showed you how a house is worth money, property, how it goes up in value, and one of the best investments. But believe it or not, the better investment was, I think they took the example of Gone with the Wind and showed how much it costs to make it, the ways it's been released, how much money it's made, and the return on that investment. I think it's pretty amazing that Gone with the Wind and movies became a better investment than a house. It was almost, the return on that was extraordinary because of the various formats, and it just kept getting re-released. Like a house or property can be resold. So the value of it just keeps going up. What's happened now is, while it's easier to produce stuff, much easier, what's happened is we're now flooded with content daily. Between guys like, and I'll bring up myself, doing this, taking up your time, and everyone else producing content, and the studios, and all these internet companies making more and more content. You and the channels, you got hundreds of channels, and you're watching hours and hours. And by the way, I don't know why, I still can't find I still on a day-to-day basis find stuff, never find something I want to watch, but they're making so much stuff that you now devalued content. I mean, when I was growing up, yeah, there was 4 or 5 channels, and that was it. Now you got hundreds of channels with thousands and thousands of hours of content that it's become almost like, why should anyone really pay all that much for it? Because you've now devalued it down to pennies. And to end it, you devalued it down to nickels, dimes, and quarters. So that's my last thought on it at the moment. I hope you guys have a great day, and be active, be safe, be healthy. But that's my post for the day. Just more thoughts on that. Thank you guys for posting about it and making me think about it a bit more. I hope you enjoy this one too. As I was reviewing the video, I noticed one point I wanted to make but didn't make. And that is that while the content, the amount of it has gone up and up and up, the one thing that hasn't gone up is how many hours in a day. And how many hours can you watch TV? And that's it. You got 24. And how many of those 24 do you really watch it? You're sleeping about 8. You're at work. You're doing this. So, yes, they're competing for all that same basic time. So when you have that much of it, yes, this is why, again, going back to it's been devalued, and why it's pretty much, yeah, nickels, dimes, and quarters. You guys have a great day again. Take care.